So it stays on that. Okay. Yeah. So you can tell your Amy. Okay.
Hi, everybody. I miss everyone. It's Miss Gaynor. I'm second grade teacher, and I'm going to read to you a book because Mr. Oliver can't do it today. So Miss Brown and I are subbing for him. And the book that I chose, I have never read to my class yet because I was saving it. That's how much I love this book. It's called The Paperboy, and it's by Dave Pilkey. And you know Dave Pilkey, the one that wrote Captain Underpants and Dog Man. This actually, I don't think is a very well written book. It's just okay in terms of its writing. Its illustrations are gorgeous. The paintings are by Dave Pilkey, but I chose it for two reasons. One, it is one of my very favorite picture books. Another reason is that it's a very calming, soothing book, and it just makes me feel good inside. If you know me, you know how much I love animals. So yes, there's a dog in this book that plays an important role. And it also takes place very, very early in the morning before anybody is awake. And that is my favorite time of day, to be awake when the whole world is sleeping. So I'm going to read to you now The Paperboy, and then Miss Brown and I are going to have a little conversation about it. Story and Paintings by Dave Pilkey. The mornings of the Paperboy are still dark, and they are always cold, even in the summer. And on these cold mornings, the Paperboy's bed is still warm, and it is always hard to get out, even for his dog. But they do. And softly, they step down the quiet hall, past the door where the Paperboy's father and mother are sleeping, past the door where his sister is asleep. And down to the kitchen where they eat from their bowls. That's my favorite page. And out to the garage where they quickly fold their papers, snapping on green rubber bands and placing them in a large red bag. It is hard to ride a bike when you are loaded down with newspapers, but the Paperboy has learned how to do this, and he is good at it. The Paperboy knows his route by heart, so he doesn't even have to think about which house to pedal to. Instead, he is thinking about other things, big things and small things. And sometimes he is thinking about nothing at all. His dog too knows this route by heart. He knows which trees are for sniffing. He knows which bird bats are for drinking, which squirrels are for chasing, and which cats are for growling at. All the world is asleep except for the Paperboy and his dog, and this is the time when they are happiest. But little by little, the world around them wakes up. The stars and the moon fade away, and the skies become orange and pink. And when the Paperboy has delivered his last newspaper, he and his dog race home, and his empty red bag flaps behind him in the cold morning air. Soon they are back home. It is still dark inside, but the sounds of morning are all around. His father and mother are awake and talking softly in their bed, and his sister is downstairs watching Saturday morning cartoon. And back inside in his own room, the paperboy pulls down his shade and crawls back into his bed, which is still warm. And while all of the world is waking up, the paperboy is going back to sleep. And his dog is sleeping too. Their work is done. And now is the time for dreaming.
Wow.
I love that book. You can tell how much I love it because look at how ripped up it is.
I was
There's
gonna say
tape
that.
all over this book.
I was going to say that. Is that a non-sharing book? Is that one where you're like,
This is one I
can't-
will not give out. That's exactly right. I love it too much. I have to keep it in my classroom. If you want to read it, you can come into my classroom to read it, but I cannot let it out.
Right.
Now, this was your first time hearing it, Miss Brown.
Yeah, it's good, actually. And I'm probably overthinking it just because you're one of my dear friends. So I'm like wanting to know exactly every in and out of how this touches you because it's just like, so it is calm, but it's deep.
It is deep
Yeah.
because I love the connection between the boy and his dog. I love in the end how they go both off dreaming. And I think they're dreaming about each other. I can tell.
Probably, wait, but
And I also like how this story takes place only a very short amount of time. It only takes place maybe in the duration of an hour.
Mhm.
So I like the sense of time.
wait, because they go back to rest after the
Yes.
But
yes.
it's
Yeah, because the whole story,
Mhm.
they just with the papers.
Wait, but it is something crazy that they're like imagining it because of everything that's going on. I think it's okay to imagine more of the, you know what I mean?
I think
just
so
feel
too.
like it's a good place to be eventually.
I think so too. I hope you liked it as much as I do. And if you're on this and you're in my class, I saved it to the end.
That's sweet. Thank you, Miss Gaynor.
Very welcome. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, my book is a little bit different, different mood. And I already asked some of you that were on before we started if you could guess which book I was going to read, and you guessed right. Because I read it to my class too often, I think.
But if you
Sorry,
love a book,
I
you
just
can't
love
read
it.
too
I
often.
love it. I love every little piece of it. So it is The Cool Beans, and it is written by Jory John, illustrated by Pete Oswald. It's fantastic. If you haven't read this one, it's probably my favorite of the books, The Good Egg, The Bad Seed, The Cool Beans. They're all very good, but I'll show you up close some of the little nuances of the pictures. I like my favorite because they do little things about, well, you'll see. The Cool Beans, written by Jory John and illustrated by Pete Oswald. I'm gonna hold it this way and then zoom in a little. Watch out! Here comes the cool beans. The cool beans. Okay, that's that illustration. The inside. Oh my goodness. You can laugh. You're making me feel so good. Home of the pods. You think they're laughing at home? But they
do.
don't.
I think they're laughing.
Oh yeah. Check out how they move. Look at the way they swagger. Notice their sunglasses. Yow! The cool beans are known all over school, from house to house, across town, beyond county lines. That was you. With the letter jacket. In the older days, last year, we were all in one big pot of beans. We were a mixed bag, but somehow it worked. Yep, those were the good old days. And then we stopped seeing each other as much. That's just how it goes sometimes. You spend less time together, even though you're not totally sure why. That's how it goes with them right now. Not seeing. I watched as the beans I knew so well, the beans from my home came the cool beans. Oh, they were so cool. One of them could play the guitar. Cool. One of them could draw the best superheroes. Cool. And one of them could jump higher than any bean I'd ever known. Cool. Me? Well, I mostly stayed the same. Sure, I made some changes. I wore sunglasses, but too big. I slicked my hair back, but too thick. And I strutted around. Ow. I swaggered. Oof, not so smooth. I was still picked last for everything. My clothes never seemed to fit. I snorted when I laughed. I walked into stuff. I was an uncool being, for sure. I started thinking of myself as just a common being with no special skills. I couldn't compete, so I didn't even try. I'd never be a cool being. Sorry, the quality isn't so great. I wish they could see it a little better, but it seemed like there were two types of beings in the world. They were the cool beings, and there were the cool beings, and the beings like me. I love that.
Get it? Like we're Gouda beans.
Get it? Nice. Love it. The days all blended together. I lived my life and things were just okay. I took tests and ate lunches and mostly kept to myself. The cool beans continued being cool. I mean, sure, I miss them a bit, but it's not like I was going to say anything. I felt like all of that coolness had gotten in the way of our friendship. And that's how it went. Until one day. Isn't that the worst when you feel like something's bothering you? You just don't. And you can't say anything. I was in the cafeteria. I dropped my lunch on my loafers. But then something sort of miraculous happened. Out of nowhere, one of the cool beans helped me clean it up. He didn't even say anything. He just gave me a nod. That was it. Later, I was out on the playground. I tripped and scraped my knee and maybe cried a little bit, and everybody saw it. Another one of the cool beans came to my side, and without a word, he dusted me off. That afternoon, Mr. Bean's English. That afternoon, I was sitting in class. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't notice, but our teacher had called on me. Everybody stared. I sat there in silence. And everybody just laughed at me, and that was it. After today, I surely was officially a has-been. But actually, one of the cool beans stood up and came over to me. Everybody watched. She leaned in close and whispered, "Hey, the teacher asked you to read from page 32. And she gave me a quick wink and went back to her seat. Rest assured that it was also everything.
The Great Gatsby, as opposed to Great Gatsby.
I like think that
You like
so
that? That's your
funny.
kind of humor, Miss Brown.
I love it. Little sneaks in there. I walked home with a goofy smile on my face. I smiled all the dinner. That day made all the difference. It was a day that could have been really bad if not for the kindness of a few cool beans. It gave me a shred of confidence. That shred of confidence has continued to grow. Somebody had my back, or a few somebodies. After that, I started hanging out with the cool beans again. How have you been? Get it? How you been? We don't hang out all the time, but sometimes. At lunch, after school, even on the weekends. Throughout all this, I realized that it's not about how you look or any of that other silly stuff. Raising, putting them in the recycling. It's about a wink or a nod or a smile at just the right moment. It's about dusting somebody off, helping them up again, and pointing them in the right direction. You need a hand? Yes, please. Now that's cool. I seriously, even though I've read it so many times, I just love this book. And you want to know, even though I know I've had a handful of students enjoy this book with me before, I felt it was important to revisit today because I think our goal as teachers with each of you and each other right now is to help each other stay inspired. And I think that what's really been helping me and making all this seem to be okay is focusing on serving others where I can, which is, and I talked briefly about that with my own students, but I think it can be tricky you have to be so creative at this time to serve others because I think we just picture, oh, serving others is a literal helping hand, which is something we can't exactly do right now. We're not supposed to be in close proximity, but what do you think are some ways that we could?
Well, that's the thing, like we hear this book from the little outsider being's perspective, but it would be great to hear it from the really cool being's perspective. Why?
Right.
How do they manage being cool and soft and gentle at the same time? That's a great little combination. So this book has such a beautiful message, and I agree with you that we have to just try to do kindness and step out of ourselves. At the same time, being calm and soft like this book, but also looking beyond ourselves and making those kinds of connections, whatever that may be. And kindness doesn't have to be this huge thing. They didn't do anything out of the ordinary, helping someone up, giving someone a smile.
Right.
That means a lot. When I was walking early in the morning before anybody else was up with Plum, a man nodded to me. He didn't even smile, he just nodded to me, and it made me feel good.
And I think we have to seek every opportunity right now to do that. And maybe like even I almost want to send them off with a little challenge, and then maybe you can send off with just your last final words. But my challenge is that you handwrite a letter to the first person that comes to your mind that you think needs it. And don't hesitate. Whoever the first person is comes to your mind, write them a letter. Fourth graders and up, you better make sure you better.
Second graders know how to write a letter.
No sloppy city, not revising, not caring. Like really have it be an experience where you share something, anything, whatever comes to your mind, but find a way to get that letter to that person, whether it's take a picture of it and have mom and dad send it, or maybe you actually snail mail, old school, put it in the mailbox.
I like that idea. I
think I'm gonna do it today too. I'll do it too.
I'll do it too.
Yeah.
Who knows where they're gonna get? And it was so great seeing children that were not just in my class, but other children that I just see in the halls or say hello to me or I've had in previous years. This was a wonderful experience. I'm glad this took off.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. If you watch this video. Okay, are you gonna say any last?
No,
was that your
that's
last
it. I
one?
love you all. I miss you all, and I hope we all get to see each other soon.
We love you. Bye, guys. This might be, I don't know how to, oh, I see that. Thank you, Amber, for helping us set this up. Thanks. Bye, guys. I mean.